Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fairly News Crew. I'm your host here as always, Alexis, and today we're bringing you another movie review for the phenomenal film, the latest from Disney Animation Studios. This is Zootopia. Zootopia is directed by Byron Howard and Rich Moore and stars Jennifer Goodwin as Judy Hopps and Jason Bateman as Nick Wilde. Zootopia is, as its title is referring to, a utopia of sorts for all wildlife living in a civilization in a modern period. The story centers around Judy Hopps, who is a bunny, of course, and her lifelong dream is to be a cop in a society in which bunnies aren't necessarily regarded as police officers and are often ridiculed for even attempting to be anything for what they are. So, as you can imagine, she sets out to fulfill her dream, and in the process, she goes through an incredible journey that exposes some really interesting commentaries about not only their society, but reflects it back to us and to see ourselves for the same kind of prejudices that perhaps we may be enacting. The beauty of this movie is completely unexpected. It provides a tremendous social commentary about Zootopia as if it was our society, because what they have in the movie play out are scenarios in which we have seen in real life play out. One reviewer said that this is the best family movie about racism. And I think to an extent that pretty much says it all. There were several times when I was looking at either Kyle or Peter and I was like, is this really happening? Is this a Disney movie? Like, I couldn't believe it. I was proud, but then I was just blown away. And I could feel that several times throughout the theater. Many of the parents were just like, I can hear some kind of an audible gasp because this is not anything anyone was expecting. And it all starts out with this scene, and get this, in an all-elephant ice cream parlor, refusing to serve ice cream to a fox, quote-unquote fox. He is a fox, but you get the imagery that is suggested there. Zootopia has accomplished something that no one expected this movie would. It has taken a stamp on an issue very few animated movies go, and I think it really has carved its own niche. No other movie can touch it because it is brutal. This movie doesn't dare sugarcoat any of the realities with this particular Zootopia. And I don't want to go too much into detail because this movie really just sprinkles in these surprises, the shock, and then also the feeling you get from this movie promoting a certain sense of awareness should be experienced properly when watching this movie. The characters are just lovable. I am in love with Judy Hopps and Nick, and their chemistry is beyond anything anyone ever expected just based off of those previews. Jason Bateman and Jennifer Goodwin are amazing together. They bring these characters to life, and that's not just with them. Throughout all of this film, all of the characters, the voice talent is just superb. Another great positive about Zootopia is the humor. The humor really relies on a lot of pop culture references, but it really just elevates the film as it's trying to portray a modern day utopia, also reflecting our own society. It was clever, witty, and downright funny. We've seen a character like Judy many times before, but rarely do we see them reflect on their own success and how it affects not just the people around them, but the world. That's another important message I think people, especially kids, need to hear. There are just so many layers of complexity to this movie. That's a good conversation for people to have. For little kids, it might go over their heads and they may be confused because there are certain events toward the latter half of the movie where things happen kind of quickly, and if you don't put two and two together at the moment, you might get lost. So if anything, that would be the only negative. But this movie has a great score because of Michael Giacchino, and the animation is top notch. It's Disney animation, of course, but I really have to hand it out to all of the animators because there is so much going on with Zootopia itself and all of the different environments and all of the different characters in the backgrounds. It is just an accomplishment that needs to be recognized. I think with Zootopia, we are definitely living in a new, dare I say, say, Renaissance age of Disney animation, to which of course I'm referring to the 90s Renaissance that gave us Lion King, Mermaid, Beauty, and Aladdin. Now with Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, Tangled, Princess, and Big Hero 6, and with Zootopia, Disney animation is taking risks, and this is a big risk, and I think it's going to pay off because this movie, it is a delight, it is wonderful, and the messages that it's sent to people are messages that we desperately need to hear as people and human beings on this planet. And I really mean that. This movie is important, it is wonderful, and it's an absolute must-see for 2016. Well, until next time, I'm your host here as always, Alexis. I want to thank you so much for watching this movie review, and if you want some more programming here on BNC, please subscribe for more and like and leave plenty of comments. If you have something negative to say or something positive to say, please, I encourage you to say something. We will definitely take a look at that as we always do. And until next time, I'm your host here as always, Alexis, and this is the Barely News Crew, the place for all things movie news and reviews.